Yo, what's poppin', people? What's poppin'? What's poppin'? Man. Alright. Yo, what's good? Damn, you know what's the sad thing about a lot of so-called black males online? Is that they're quick to take almost every single thing they hear and say out of context. I don't know, maybe it's something in the waters, maybe something in the air. I don't know, something in the mind of these Negro males, how they're so quick to just take things out of context. I mean, what you see within the past couple of years when it comes to so-called black males online, you see the intelligence of so-called black males just going down the gutter. I mean, it went beyond the gutter. It went beyond the sewers. The intelligence of so-called black males online went beyond the goddamn aqueduct. It went beyond the goddamn bottomless pit. I mean, the intelligence of so-called black males online have gone so low that it went into some place that no man has gone before on some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I don't get it. And the reason why I'm saying this is because a lot of so-called black males online today actually, misunderstand the reason why the first group of black male content creators actually came online and spoke about things affecting black males in America, especially when it comes to the male and female dynamic. And you could tell that they misunderstand the original intentions of the first generation of black males who came online, because the shit that they talk about now is totally out of whack and has nothing to do with why people like me came online in the first place. It's very obvious, and I keep saying it over and over again for the past 2 years, is that when it comes to the first generation of black male content creators that came online and spoke about certain topics, we did it with the intention to raise the awareness of so-called black males within the society that they live in. Our intent was to increase the social, political, and economic status of black males. That's what our intentions was. But especially when we was speaking about the male female dynamic, our intention was to give black males awareness of the type of toxic females that exist, and that exist in a high number. What's going on, Jersey Hammer? I'll read your comment in a bit. That's what we was talking about. That was our intent, to raise the awareness and let so-called black males know, as far as us speaking about the male-female dynamic, right? Our intent, once again, sorry to repeat myself, was to raise the awareness of black males and let them know of the many toxic females that exist, and that they must avoid them, and what to do and how to avoid them. We even gave, so-called black males online advice on how to actually be able to decipher a toxic, narcissistic, low quality, low hanging fruit of a female when they encounter one. But it seems like now, in today's internet, in today's niggatube, right? In today's, Negro social media, you have so-called black male content creators and etc. that's doing the complete opposite. What they're doing now is they're trying to actually speak to females, not to females, but the same toxic. They're making these videos to try to speak to these toxic, narcissistic, low-hanging fruit females to try to change them. I mean, you even have so-called black males only within the past couple of years who are actually hoping and wishing that something happens in society to force females to change. And that's and realistically, that's not going to happen. Hold on, let me read Jersey Hammer's comment. When he said, too many dumber than a dog, too many dumber than dog shit people are allowed to talk when they should be given a fucking lollipop and sat in the fucking corner. Yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of so-called black males on YouTube, you know, they so quick to misunderstand shit that they become like this motherfucker in the picture right here, confused as hell. I mean, this motherfucker that you see in the picture right here should be the logo of today's black manosphere. All confused, like, on some Scooby-Doo shit. But going back to what I was saying, right? Going back to my point, in which the thing is that now we're in a situation where you have different black male content creators who are making content to not only hope that something change within society that would force females to change, you even have males who are sitting there trying to get so-called black males, right? Trying to get so-called black males to make themselves look more appealing to these narcissistic, low-hanging fruit type females that they should be avoiding in the first place. So it's like the first generation of black male content creators was telling black males on how to avoid these types of females in order to avoid or decrease the chances of your life being ruined, to now so-called black male content creators trying to teach black males on how to make themselves more appealing or more attractive to these same narcissistic, low-quality, low-hanging fruit females so that they could get laid. Does that shit make sense? You know, and they do that. One of the ways a lot of these black male content creators of today do that is make all these videos trying to break down and trying to teach you the mindset of the modern day female, how they think, what type of guys they like, what do they find attractive about a guy, like what do you have to do in order to make yourself attractive in front of these types of females. And it's like, and I've been saying this shit for years, I'm like, that shit doesn't make any sense. If you claim to be a good man, and it could, you know, if you claim to be a good, genuine man who is morally upright, not a perfect person, because nobody's perfect, you know, but if you claim to be a person of good intention, a person of integrity, right? If you claim to be a man of dignity, if you claim to be a man of class, if you claim to be a man with some level of some sort of moral fiber about you, then common sense will tell you that you would want nothing to do with a group of females who do not have these qualities that you possess, who don't have the type of virtues that you possess, right? So therefore, you would avoid toxic females. You would avoid the Brittany Runners of the world. You would avoid the Lori Harveys of the world, right? You would avoid the Stephen Cans of the world. Nope, not black males online. Nope, nope, nope. Not so-called black males online. It's too. You know, a lot of so-called black males online actually misunderstand the actual goal of this online movement that people now call the manosphere. It has been totally misunderstood, taken out of context, and what have you. And like I said, maybe it's something in the air that so-called black males breathe, that actually makes some sort of chemical reaction to the nigga DNA, and that chemical reaction becomes a negative one. Maybe it's the water these niggas be drinking. I don't know. But so-called black males online today are just quick to misunderstand almost everything. I mean, a content creator can come out and make a video and talk about how the sky is blue, you know, and they'll Title the video, "The Sky is Blue." And then that content creator will explain, whichever chemicals are up in the sky that form together that makes the sky blue, and explain all this bullshit. And some way, somehow, black males online would watch the video and interpret it as that content creator saying that the sky is gold. This is how stupid a lot of so-called black males online have become. And it's sad. It's sad because our stupidity is actually giving credence to a lot of these negative stereotypes that have been made about us. And instead of actually proving the stereotype to be wrong, we're actually proving the stereotype to be correct. What type of shit is this, man? What up, Sigma American Arcana? Yeah, Jersey Hammer is on point. They should have never given you niggas social media. I said this in one of my previous videos. Just like when someone, I don't know whoever made the statement, they said, if you want to hide something from a nigga, you hide it in a book. Well, they should have hit social media in the book. That's one of the dangers of social media. Social media have given too many retards a fucking platform to speak and speak their minds. And at the same time, you have a whole lot of retards who, for some way, somehow, can relate to the one retard on the podium speaking. And, it's ridiculous, man. To the point of the fact that so-called black males online, like I said before, have become no different than the motherfucker you see in this picture. This is the new Black Manosphere logo. Well, I don't think the so-called Black Manosphere, with the exception of the magazine, ever had a logo. So you might as well put this as the new logo. Because it represents the majority of so-called black males in the space very well. Confused and a motherfucker. Oh, scratching your head, ass. Sigma American Arcana says, it's too easy for anybody to make a channel and open up a live stream and start collecting cash apps. It's out of hand. Yeah. That is true. That is true. Yeah. I mean, goddamn. But going back to what I was talking about, right? It has become this thing where a lot of so-called black males online are on a mission to try to force females to change. So now you see a lot of their videos are dedicated into trying to change a female. A lot of their videos are so female-centered now. And that is the total opposite. That is contrary to what the first generation of black male content creators was doing. The first generation of black male content creators made their content male-centered. Male-centered, especially black male-centered. And although we were speaking about, the male and female dynamics that takes place between black males and females, we also spoke about other things that affected the so-called black male populace on a, like I said before, on an economic, political, and social level. But the whole relationship and dating thing was just a small piece of the overall picture. But nonetheless, niggas in today's manosphere, or just online today, misunderstand. What's up? What's going on, Gold Professor? Gold Professor says, well, peace to you. Yeah, peace back to you, Gold Professor. So going back to what I was saying, it's like the so-called black males in today's online chitlin circuit or online minstrel show have totally misunderstand what us people like me was bringing up when we were speaking about the male-female dynamics. Because our intent was not to change females. Our intent was to give awareness to so-called black males and let them know to say, listen, you have a responsibility to be conscious of the types of females that exist around you. And these types of females have been breeded and socialized to destroy you. Therefore, if you get into any type of commitment with them, or even any type of sexual contact with them, you are increasing the chances of destroying your life. You are increasing your chances of some false rape accusations to happen. This is how a lot of narcissistic, bottom of the barrel, low hanging fruit, toxic females behave. You might get sent to child support court and have your whole, your bank account get cleaned up for the next 18 to 21 years. Making a decision to have any commitment with these types of females can get you killed. It can lead you to dying early to stress. So in those days, the wonder years of Black YouTube, circa 2008 to 2014, we were telling brothers on how to be able to recognize a toxic, low value, low quality female, how to actually recognize who they are, recognize their behavior, recognize their habits, and to avoid them. It's that easy. This is not rocket science. This is common sense. What's going on, Tampa Supreme? What's going on, Tampa? Sigma American all kind of weed. He says, as awful as modern Black women are, I hate to admit that too many Black males, he says, Sigma American, he says, as awful as modern Black women are, I hate to admit that too many Black males are generally undeserving of. Listen, Sigma. When the majority of so-called Black males are no different than the motherfucker you see on the screen right here, then they're not deserving of anything. Unfortunately. Once again, what you see here in this screen, people, is the actual logo of the so-called Black manosphere, all right? Confused nigga. That's what you see. But going back to what I was saying. Yeah. The fact of the matter is that, yeah, man, like a lot of so-called Black males online today, what they're trying to do with their followers is that they're trying to get their followers to go back to a group of females that earlier generations of Black male content creators was telling brothers to avoid and stay away from. It's like the first generation of Black male content creators is telling you, hey, listen, don't put your hand in that basket. Don't put your hand in that basket because there's a cobra in there. There's a cobra in there. If you put your hand in there, you'll be bitten. And then you'll end up being injected with his poisonous venom, right? But then you got another group of people years later that says, you know what? You should make yourself more worthy in putting your hand in that basket. A man who knows how to put his hands in that basket is a real man. A man that don't fear a damn thing. So what? You fear of a snake biting you? Who the fuck is you? You a weak ass nigga. You ain't no real nigga if you don't let no snake bite you. It's like now we're telling so-called Black males to be bitten by the snake. And it's to a point now we're actually making content in order to try to get a snake to no longer be a snake, but to be more caring and nurturing. You think you can teach a snake to not be a snake? I'm not saying. I'm just asking. It's ridiculous. I mean, for example, right? Last year in 2021, you had a phrase that was very popular among a lot of so-called Black males on the internet. And that phrase was winter is coming. Winter is coming. Winter is coming. You guys thought I was talking about a high value man. No, that phrase, winter is coming. And a lot of so-called Black males, was actually celebrating this the concept behind that phrase. And for those of you guys who don't know the concept behind it, it basically was telling so-called black females that a time will come where you'll face some sort of economic hardship. It'll be a cold time for you. And they were saying that in reference to the possibility of this website called OnlyFans canceling their adult content. And they reference that. When I mean them, I'm speaking about a lot of so-called black content creators online, referencing that as a way to celebrate the fact that OnlyFans might cancel their adult content, just thinking that that would force so-called black females to come to this imaginary negotiation table and force them to negotiate with black males and be good females. I mean, even when it comes to this decision that was done by the Supreme Court, where they overturned Roe v. Wade, the Roe v. Wade case, thus a lot of states within the United States have outlawed abortion. You even still now, got black males thinking that this would force a lot of so-called black females to behave. When I mean black, I'm speaking about the low-hanging fruit black females to actually somehow behave and make them this quote-unquote good female. This is this is ridiculous, man. Jersey Hammer says there are two problems. He says there are two problems. One is the men are led to believe that all black women are problematic. Good point. The second part is that there appears to be a low percentage that actually aren't problematic. Yeah, that is true. That is very true. Yes. Yeah, and those are like two extremes. You know, one extreme is that a lot of so-called, black males are just a lot of so-called black males online are led to believe that all so-called black females are toxic. And another problem, I wouldn't say the other problem is an extreme, but it is actually a reality, or maybe an extreme reality, is that the ones who are not problematic is small in number. Yeah, that is true. But the fact of the matter is that we have black male content creators now who are dedicated in making their content about changing females. It's trying to change low-hanging fruit females. How did that work for your God, Kevin Samuels Christ? How did that work for him? The man dedicated the last years of his life in trying to do that. And what happened after he died? The same ones he dedicated his last year of his life in trying to change laughed at him when he passed away. Right? Celebrated. I mean, they was Crip walking on top of his grave. No disrespect to any Crips out there. You know what I'm saying? They was out here doing the Cabbage Patch and the Running Man. They was doing the Dougie when they heard that homeboy passed away. They was dancing. Shit. I mean, it seems like so many so-called black females was dancing and celebrating to the death of Kevin Samuels Christ, to the point of fact that some of them lost weight. Yo, it's crazy. The concept or the purpose of this side of YouTube was never to try to convince females or low-hanging fruit / toxic females to change their toxic ways. The point was to try to get males to become much more wiser with the decisions that they make when it comes to choosing the right type of females. That was one of the purpose of this part of YouTube. As far as when we talk about relationships, it was to give so-called black males more awareness and how to get them to make better decisions. It was never to try to change a snake. It was to try to get people to avoid getting bit by the snake. In that way, you avoid less drama. It's that simple. There's nothing complicated as far as what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is not complicated. It should not be complicated. What I'm saying should not be, it should not be complex. What I'm saying is common sense. It's common sense. But it seems like a lot of so-called black males today don't practice that because they're so quick to take things out of context and twist things into something that it was never meant to be. And that is basically the modern day manosphere in a nutshell. It got twisted into something that it was never meant to be. Why? Because so-called black males online misunderstand almost everything. It's crazy, man. It's insane. There's too much stupidity out here, man. Too much motherfucking stupidity out here. You know, man, let me tell you something, man. I mean, in 2020, right, 2 years ago, when Kevin Samuels Christ was alive, he took that phrase, high value man, and injected it with steroids because a lot of so-called black males was utilizing that term until that shit got out of style. And they was using that term high value man as a way to describe themselves online in order to seek validation from the same group of toxic black females that they should avoid. When motherfuckers was using and still using that high value man term, it's almost like that kid in the classroom. You remember back in elementary school when a teacher asked a question and all the kids jumped up and down and raised their hand and go ooh 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 ooh, and was so thirsty to get the teacher to pick them. That's how a lot of these adult black males are acting like when they describe themselves as a high value man. Ooh, 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 I'm a high value man. Ooh, 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 I'm a high value man. Ooh, 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 ooh. They got their hands raised and shit. Jumping up in the air. Ooh, 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 I'm a high value man. It's like, so desperate to try to seek validation from a certain subgroup of females that don't give a fuck about you. This is amazing. 1.0 was teaching so-called black males to stay the fuck away from these types of females. 2.0 was teaching is now teaching these same males how to make themselves more appealing and more attractive to the group of females that they should avoid. That shit is backwards. And then have the nerve to complain about child support court and family going to family court and paying child support and all this other bullshit. But it's like you do know the chances of a man going to child support court can actually be drastically reduced if you just stay the fuck away from a certain type of female, right? Once again, this is common sense. This is common sense. As a matter of fact, it's so damn common that I shouldn't even have to come online and say this shit. I don't know. I thought common sense was so damn. I thought common sense was so damn basic within the human psyche that all people have it and use it, which is why, which is why the word common is in the phrase common sense, right? But one thing that social media did teach me is how many stupid people exist in the world. Niggas is that goddamn thirsty for some goddamn um, female validation now. This shit is ridiculous. Oh, let me take this dumbass music off. Pause on this music. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, I'm done with this. I'm done with this shit. Let me put my back. Yeah. Now we're on and popping. Hell yeah. Now we're on and popping. Let me try this shit right here. Play this shit. Yeah, I'm playing around with this shit. I'm playing around with this string y'all stuff when it comes to the background music. Mm, 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 mm. You know, it's just it's just strange to me when it comes to what I have witnessed in the internet within the past few years. It's very interesting. It's what I did a week ago. A week ago, I unsubscribed from a lot of black male content creators, man. I unsubscribed from a whole lot of fucking people because it was just getting on my nerves when it comes to how much a lot of these black male channels were so goddamn female centered. It was to a point where all of my subscription pages, excuse me, no, not our pages, but all of my subscription page, you had all types of damn videos of black male content creators talking about females. This title, women this, women that. This video on the title, women this, women that. That title, women this, women that. That title, women this, women that. That title, women this, women that. Everything, women this, women that. I'm like, God damn, do you motherfuckers got something else to talk about? I mean, shit, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, right? Oh, that's all right, Sigma. Don't get me wrong. There comes a time and a place where you can speak about, females and, when you speak about the male and female dynamic, there comes a time and place where everything has a time and place to talk about, right? But when people are always making content talking about females, this, females, that, everything females, 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 it's like, God damn, nigga. Nigga, just bust a nut already. Fuck. God damn. Shit. It's like you got nothing else to talk about. You have nothing else to talk about. That's all you have to speak about. That's it. Yo, and then it's like, and I said this in a few of my videos, it's like whenever you do hear a panel where people speak about dating and relationships, most people are not even saying anything profound. They're not even saying anything profound. They're not even saying anything. They're not even making statements that's based off of any type of research, for the most part, right? People are just giving their own, you know, a lot of it is just emotional, just some emotional shit. That's all it is. A lot of times people are basing things based off of anecdotes when they speak on the topics of relationships and datings. A lot of people utilize a lot of anecdotes. They utilize a lot of assumptions and generalizations, and they sound stupid when they make these types of statements. You know, and a lot of people try to convince you to believe things their way. And when you ask them, okay, if you want to try to convince me to believe what you're saying, you must provide actual, accurate evidence to prove that what you're saying is true. If you can't do that, then all I'm just going to do is view your opinion as just an opinion with no factual basis behind it. That's really it. Wow, man. And a lot of people don't even dig deep when they speak on the male and female dynamics of things, man. A lot of people rarely speak about the social engineering that takes place. Well, a lot of people in 1.0, you know, they spoke about social engineering, but this modern day black male minstrel show do not spend enough time in breaking down the social engineering that both males and females go through that further destroys the black male and female relationship dynamic. They don't cover that. They just talk about the same common thing. Well, y'all want to give, you know, y'all want to have sex with pookies and ray rays. You know, y'all want to have sex with pookies and ray rays. Y'all don't like educated men. So therefore, the educated men, we're flying a trip and go to Brazil. Shit. And then you got these bitches coming on here talking about, y'all don't like black women. Y'all like black women. Y'all like white women. Well, actually, statistics shows that 80% of so-called black males, when they get married, they marry so-called black females. Therefore, really in America, black males are more likely to have relations with black females than any other race of female. No. Y'all like the white women. Like the white women. You know, it's so damn stupid. I'm telling you, when you have these panels full of so-called black people on here, and when they speak on this topic, they give credence to a lot of these negative stereotypes that have been made about us. I'm telling you, man, they come on here sounding stupid as a motherfucker. Okay, Sigma says, and another reason why I can't come up is because I'm afraid to speak bad of 2.0. They strike fear in my bones. Oh, okay. Sigma American Arcana says, 2.0 strike fear in his bones. Okay, well. Oh, man. You're funny, Sigma. You're funny. It's like, god damn. It's very stupid. Extremely stupid. Extremely dumb. But then when you try to get so-called black males to organize together. Let's organize and actually put our brains at work, and let's do something constructive out in the real world in order to improve things for the next generation of black males. Oh no 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 but you hear all types of excuses. Oh no 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 no, let it burn. No no, all this other bullshit, right? All right. Oh boy, it's crazy. It's real crazy. It is insane. So-called black males online misunderstand almost everything in this world. This is why a lot of times when so-called black people, this could be pertaining to anything that so-called black people created. Whether you're talking about some pro-black shit, whether you're talking about some Hebrew Israelite shit, whether you talk about some black manosphere shit, it's like it starts off like a lot of movements that so-called black males created, and it begins with good intentions. It ends up over time turning into something completely negative, because so-called black males misunderstand the original intent and the original purpose of the movement. We saw that in hip hop. Hell, so-called black males are so goddamn dumb, they don't even, they misunderstood the original intention of so-called gangster rap. In which the original gangster rap, in which the original quote-unquote gangster rappers actually felt that the term gangster rap was an offensive term. The original intent for so-called gangster rap was not to glamorize or glorify criminal activity. When you speak, if you listen to, early NWA interviews, when you listen to early Tupac interviews and Ice-T interviews, when you listen to these interviews, they will tell you, or even Cypress Hill interviews, they would even tell you that so-called gangster rap, the intent was to confront the criminal activity that existed in the inner cities and the things that the average so-called black or Latino male go through growing up in that type of environment, and how a lot of so-called black and Latino males were socialized and socially engineered into becoming criminals, and how poverty plays a big role behind that. But years later, you got, the latter generation of so-called gangster rappers who misunderstood the original concept of that subgenre of rap and think that quote-unquote gangster rap was all about glorifying the criminal lifestyle. Now, to the point that now, you look at this drill rap movement, this drill music movement, which is really a modern day remix of so-called gangster rap, where you have these young kids who think that in order to become a successful musician, you actually have to be a criminal. And it's like now, almost every goddamn rapper in today's world are just dying and dropping dead. They're dropping dead. I know when I was a kid, it was a shock to hear a rapper dying. Now it's not shocking as so much. It almost becomes like a an initiation ritual, right? It's like, in order for a rapper to go platinum now, he gotta die. Damn nigga, I ain't selling these records. Damn, what I gotta do to sell these records? You gotta die. It's not. Listen, I'm not trying to laugh at the concept of people getting killed, but unfortunately, it's true. You know, this is one example of so-called black males. Okay, I guess I'm switching the subject from black males online misunderstanding things to so-called black males in general misunderstanding things. But the concept is still true. You know how hip hop is now viewed in front of the eyes of today's youth is totally different than how it was viewed when so-called gangster rap first existed. Once again, it originally existed as an art form to confront the criminal activity that took place in inner cities. It was a way to give awareness to the brothers and sisters who was involved in that criminal activity and tell them to get out through utilizing that art form. Now it has become but that concept has become misunderstood by a lot of black males later on, and think that the concept of gangster rap is to glorify criminal activity, thus thinking that in order for them to be a successful rapper, they have to be a successful criminal. Which is no coincidence why now a lot of them end up getting killed. It's very common for rappers today to get killed. Once again, it's an initiation ritual. It seems like the average rapper won't be able to sell records unless if they get killed. It seems like now you're better off being the criminal instead of being the rapper, because it seems like being a rapper gets you killed faster than being an actual criminal. Oh shit. Now you got rappers facing RICO charges now. Ain't that some shit? Tekashi snitched 9. What's the other rapper's name? Casanova 2X. Now you got Young Thug and the music group that he's affiliated with facing RICO charges. I mean, RICO charges was something that we heard that was connected to, Italian mob bosses and, drug kingpins in the inner city that was actually doing crime, right? Now you got rappers who actually are accused of doing crime facing RICO charges. Why? Because it goes back to what I said earlier before, that the perception of so-called gangster rap now, that the perception that people have when it comes to so-called gangster rap today is that you must be a criminal in order to actually be a rapper. Thus, you got these rappers getting themselves caught up in this criminal activity, thinking that that's part of life. You got to glorify that shit. And look at that. They asses out here, being tried by the federal government facing RICO charges. Shit. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Yeah, that's true, Sigma. That's true. Sigma American Archon, that's true. At the end of the day, the main issue in the manosphere is a severe lack of intelligence. One big piece of evidence can be seen by looking at which channels became the most popular here. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. But yo, that's it with me ranting. All right, I'm done with my little rants. All right, peace out.